fast you were going?
What? How fast you were going?
I don't know. 10?
8.
Be advised, this is an explicit podcast, so if you're easily offended, get your panties twisted into a knot, turn this off before you get butthurt and mad, start to cry, have to run to your safe space. All opinions are those of the host and his guest and do not reflect the opinions of any government agency. Welcome back. Another episode of MOTORCOP Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Iceman. This is the non-fun one. The end of watch. I know it's a little bit late. It's the end of watch for December 2021. Give y'all some numbers in a minute. Go ahead and like and subscribe to the podcast. If you're on Apple, give me 5 stars. Write a review. I'll read it. Every Wednesday there is live shows on Facebook, Twitch, Truvo, and YouTube. You check it out. Subscribe to that. Hit the bell. Be notified when we go live, and you can interact with me and host there. So let's get on with the non-fun stuff, because I don't like doing these, but as I always say, it needs to be done. So 2021 is over. Let's hope that 2022 fares much better. There was a total of 497 line of duty deaths that were reported this year. Now there was other deaths, but not all departments report or consider, I guess, COVID deaths in the line of duty. So I had talked about I believe her Laura Bennett, the dispatcher that I knew that died of COVID. They did not list her as an in line of duty death, but she's lumped in there also. But this is what is reported anyway, and odmp.org is the source that I use. As I said, the total amount of deaths were 497. There was 3 9/11 related illnesses. 5 was from assault, 22 from automobile crashes, 336 were COVID. They had 3 drowned, 2 duty related illnesses, 1 from a fall, 62 law enforcement professionals were killed from gunfire, 2 from inadvertent gunfire, 18 from heart attacks, 3 from motorcycle crashes, 3 were stabbed, 14 were struck by vehicles and died. 1 was a training accident. 3 died in vehicle pursuits. 17 died from vehicular assaults. And 2 were weather or natural disaster related deaths. There was no canine deaths in December, so that was a good thing. So, I'm a big animal lover, so don't want to see anybody die, but I mean, it was good that there was at least no canines for month of December. So I guess I'll get to it. All right, we're going to start it out and listen up, keep the people in your prayers and stuff like that, or on your thoughts if you're not religious. So, and we'll start reading the names off. Starting on December 1st, Constable Madison Skip Nicholson, from Wilcox County Constable's Office in Alabama. End of watch was December the 1st, Wednesday. Cause of death was gunfire. It says Constable Nicholson was shot and killed while he and the Wilcox County Sheriff's Office Chief Deputy responded to a domestic disturbance on in Yellow Bluff at about 5 p.m. in the afternoon. A woman had reported that her ex-husband had threatened to kill her and had left to retrieve a firearm. As Constable Nicholson and the Chief Deputy arrived at the home, they encountered the man who opened fire and shot both deputies. Despite being wounded, the Chief Deputy returned fire and killed the suspect. Constable Nicholson was flown to Sacred Heart Hospital in Pensacola, Florida, where he succumbed to his wounds. Constable Nicholson had served in law enforcement in Wilcox County for 40 years. Had a super long career. He served as a reserve deputy, a full-time deputy, and an elected constable. He had previously been shot in the line of duty while responding to a call for service in the 1990s while serving with the county sheriff's office. He's survived by his wife, 2 sons, a daughter, and 8 grandchildren. I'll keep Mr. Nicholson in your prayers. He did more than his fair share of service to the public after 40 years of being shot twice. Detective Antoine Valentine. He's from the St. Louis County Police Department in Missouri. End of watch was Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. Cause of his death was a vehicle pursuit. So he was killed in a vehicle crash near the intersection of Chambers Road and Crete Drive in Bellefontaine Neighbors at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. He and his partner were responding to assist fellow narcotics unit detectives when a suspect fled from them. The fleeing suspect crashed into the detective's vehicle head-on at a high rate of speed. Detective and his partner were transported to the hospital where Detective Valentine succumbed to his injuries. The suspect driving the other vehicle, who had a violent criminal history, was also killed in the crash. That's good. At least the dirtbag died. Detective Valentine, he was a United States Army combat veteran and retired from the Air Force Reserves. He had served with the St. Louis County Police Department for 14 years, and he survived by his 4 children. His uncle was also a police officer in metropolitan area there. Unfortunately, I mean, that guy, did that on purpose to that man. Next, we got Deputy Sheriff Clay Livingston from Elbert County Sheriff's Office in Colorado. End of watch was Friday, December 3rd, 2021. Cause of death was COVID-19. Deputy Livingston was 30 years old, been on the force for 2 years. He also was a military veteran. So young to succumb to COVID like that. Unfortunate. Police Officer Richard Houston II, Mesquite Police Department, Texas. End of watch was Friday, December 3rd. Cause of death was gunfire. He was shot and killed while responding to a disturbance in a parking lot of a grocery store. During the investigation, a man produced a gun and opened fire on Officer Houston at about 1:40 p.m. Both Officer Houston and the subject were critically wounded in the exchange of gunfire. Officer Houston was transported to a local hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. He had been in law enforcement for 21 years. He was 46 years old. And he survived by his wife, his 2 daughters, and 1 son. And his father had also served with the Mesquite Police Department. At least man was a warrior. He didn't give up, took the bad guy out. Senior Police Officer Eric Lindsay of the Austin Police Department, Texas. End of watch was Sunday, December 5th. Cause of death was COVID-19. He was 45 years old and had been on the job for 20 years. Police Officer Theodore James Othlemere, if I'm pronouncing that right, forgive me. from Colwich Police Department in Kansas. End of watch was Wednesday, December 8th. Cause of death was COVID-19. He was 58 years old, 33 years and 2 months on the job. Wow. Police officer Detective Hector M. Nunez of the Nassau County Police Department, New York. End of watch was December 8th. He died from COVID-19. He was 42 years old and had 16 years on the job. Detective Joseph Pollock, Douglas County Sheriff's Office, Colorado. End of watch was Thursday, December 9th. He died from COVID-19. He was 64 years old and had 39 years on the job and was also a military veteran. It's a lot of experience that's not there anymore with these people that passed away. Corporal Jack Lee Guther Jr. from Dallas College Police Department, Texas. End of watch was December 9th, 2021. He died from COVID-19. He was 74 years old and had 18 years and 3 months on the job. He was also a military veteran. Sergeant Wayne Stephen Weiler. He was from Mesa County Sheriff's Office, Colorado. End of watch was Friday, December 10th. He died from COVID-19. He was 64 years old. He had 41 years on the job. Deputy Jailer Robert Daniel from Grays County Jail, Kentucky. End of watch was Friday, December 10th, 2021. Cause of death was weather or natural disaster. He was killed when a large tornado struck a building he was working in while supervising inmates on work release. He was supervising 7 inmates who were participating in the program at the Mayfield Consumer Products Candle Factory. A large tornado that had tracked over 200 miles across multiple states struck the city. He guided the inmates and employees into the shelter. Almost all 100 people were in the shelter ahead of him when the roof collapsed and killed him and numerous employees. Without the risk he took to save others, more employees from the factory would have been killed. All 7 inmates were rescued from the rubble. However, one escaped after being treated at a local hospital. Sounds like this man just cared about everybody else he was protecting and serving, including them inmates. Gave up his own life, saving all them other people instead of just him going down in there and just protecting himself. He was a hero. He survived by his 4 daughters, 3 sons, and 7 grandchildren, 2 brothers, and his father. He was 47 years old. Police Officer Jeremy Martin Wilkins, Chandler Police Department, Arizona. End of watch was Friday, December 17th. Cause of death was COVID-19. He was 46 years old, had 21 years on the job. Police Officer Zachary Dale Cottingham, apologize, I'm getting tongue-tied. Louisville Metro Police Department in Kentucky. End of watch was Saturday, December the 18th. He was struck by a vehicle. It says he was struck and killed by an automobile as he attended to an abandoned vehicle on the side of I-64 near the Melwood Avenue exit. He was standing on the side of the highway when he was struck by a passing vehicle. He was taken to the University Hospital where he succumbed to his injury. He was 29 years old, had 7 years and 2 months on the job. He had a wife and 2 children. Officer Chad P. Christine, close as I can get. I apologize. Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs, Volk Field Security Forces in Wisconsin. End of watch was Saturday, December 18th of COVID-19. He was 49 years old, and he had been on the job there for 2 years. Sergeant Kevin D. Redding, the Hartford Township Police Department, Pennsylvania. End of watch was December 20th. died from COVID. He was 53 years old, had 27 years on the job. Police officer Maya Danielle Goodwin of Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, North Carolina. End of watch was Wednesday, December 22nd. She died in an automobile crash. She was killed when a tractor trailer struck her patrol car on southbound 185 near W.T. Harris Boulevard. She was blocking traffic on the interstate at the scene of a previous crash when the tractor trailer struck her patrol car at about 3:30 a.m. She was 33 years old. She had 6 years on the job. She was assigned to the University City Division. She was survived by her husband, her 3 children, ages 3, 1, and 4 months old. Police officer Keona Holly, Baltimore City Police Department. Thursday, December 23rd, she died from gunfire. I talked about her on a previous news episode from Maryland. She succumbed to gunshot wounds sustained December 16th when she was ambushed in the 4400 block of Pennington Avenue. She was sitting in her patrol car at about 1:30 a.m. when 2 men approached from behind, opened fire, shooting her multiple times. Both men then went to another location approximately 10 miles away where they murdered another man who owed them $100. She was in critical care for a little while, and she ended up succumbing to her injuries. She was 39 years old. She had 2 years on the job. She had 4 children, parents, and a sister. Some of these just make you mad. Agent Jose Ferreira Papon out of Puerto Rico Police Department in Puerto Rico. End of watch was December 24th. He died in an automobile crash. He was killed in a vehicle crash near Hernandez Airport in Puerto Rico. He was returning to the station at the end of his shift when an oncoming vehicle traveling at high rate of speed lost control and struck his patrol car head on. He was 44 years old, and he was assigned to the Stolen Vehicles Division. Patrolman Sean E. Vandenberg, Lawrence Township Police Department in Ohio. End of watch was Saturday, December 25th. Cause of death was COVID. He was 54 years old, and he had 8 years on the job. Sergeant Jeffrey Turner of Pontotoc Police Department in Mississippi. End of watch was December 27th. He died of COVID. He was 57 years old and had 18 years on the job. Lieutenant Matthew A. Vogel, Hudson County Sheriff's Office, New Jersey. End of watch Monday, December 27th. He died from COVID. He was 50 years old and had 22 years on the job. Sergeant Christopher Mortensen, Wilkes-Barre Police Department in Pennsylvania. End of watch was December 27th. Cause of death was COVID. He was 45 years old and had 20 years on the job. Corporal Mike Sanchez of Amarillo Police Department, Texas. End of watch was Monday, December 27th. Cause of death was COVID. He was 45 years old and had 16 years on the job. Sergeant James Dement of Friendswood Police Department, Texas. End of watch was Monday, December 27th. COVID. Cause of death. He was 57 years old, had 22 years on the job. Corrections Officer Sterling David Hindenbog Jr. of Franklin County Jail, Pennsylvania. End of watch was Tuesday, December 28th. Cause of death was COVID. He was 58 years old and had 21 years, 6 months on the job. Deputy Sheriff Sean Riley, Wayne County Sheriff's Office, Illinois. End of watch was Wednesday, December 29th. Cause of death was gunfire. It says he was shot and killed after responding to assist a motorist near mile marker 115 on I-64 about 5 a.m. Another officer responding to back him up found him suffering from fatal gunshot wounds, and his patrol car was missing. The subject was later abandoned the patrol car on I-64 before fleeing to St. Peters, Missouri, where he carjacked and shot a citizen. The man then abandoned the vehicle before stealing another vehicle and returning to Illinois. He was taken into custody in the early afternoon hour. This officer's age and how long he was on the job was not available. So he stopped to help somebody he thought was broke down and lost his life because of violent criminals that are just dirtbags. Sergeant Marilyn Rematic, we talked about this one and her partner the other day. She died from gunfire on December 29th. She was shot and killed as she and another officer investigated a noise complaint at her Comfort Inn. The officers had responded to the hotel about approximately 9:30 to investigate reports of barking dogs that are left unattended in a vehicle. And they went up to the room. Documents attacked and shot both officers, and they were transported to the hospital in serious condition, and she succumbed to her wounds shortly after midnight. She was 49 years old, had 21 years on the job. And she survived by her wife, father, 5 sisters, and 1 brother. And police officer Shane Bartek, we talked about him last night also. Cleveland Division of Police in Ohio. End of watch was Friday, December 31st. He died from gunfire. He was 25 years old. He was shot and killed while people were attempting to carjack him, and he was shot in the back twice. He was been on a job for 1.5 years. And that is the end of the list. There's a lot of people on there with a lot of time and experience that passed away either violently or from COVID. It's sad. So keep all these in your thoughts and prayers. Just remember, you got a lot of people out there that give up most of their life protecting and serving other people, either, to die violently by the hands of some criminal or from a virus right now, the way it's going. So, let's hope that everything's better this year. We have way less violent deaths for police officers and just civilians, period. Let's hope people stop killing each other. It's getting to be a very, very crazy and dangerous world out there. So just stay safe, and I'm going to play some taps and another thing for the end, and that'll be it. And until I put an episode out this weekend. Everybody stay safe and watch your back, watch your partner back. Keep these families in your prayers, especially the survivors. That's the worst part of it. Keep it. Just remember.
Market and Lamar, Market and Lamar. Assist officer, shots fired. Okay, code 3, stay off the radio, officer down. Shots fired, officer down, it's an assist officer.
No time, no time.
We just don't know where the suspect's at. Saying the suspect has a rifle. Out here, we got a guy with a long rifle, we don't know where the hell he's at.
This is my last call.
Garage. Slow down, he's in the damn building right there.
My wife, I love her. And
I don't know where he's at, he's in that building right here, shots from that building.
thank her for the
We got a suspect down.
We're shot fire, officer down, shot fire, officer down. Tell her I'll be waiting after she makes it through it all. This is my last call. I'd ask her to forgive me. Tell her I'm sorry. That I can't be the man that she's gonna need. Tell her I'll be waiting where the winter meets the fall. This is my last call. And tell my children that I love them. Oh yeah, that daddy always loved them so. And tell them to hold their mother tight and to never let her go. Tell them I'll always be watching, looking over them through it all. This is my last call. But tell him to fight for me. Do what's right for me. Choose the light for me. But don't ever forget me. Tell them I'll always be watching, and I'll be there when they fall. This is my last call. For those who serve beside me and who held that thin blue line, stand tall, stand strong, and hold your head up high. I'm sorry I let you down today, but please know I gave my all. This is my last call. So raise a glass for me. And kick some ass for me. Ring a bell for me. Send them straight to hell for me. I'd like to think I saved a few good lives, but I couldn't save them all. This is my last call. Yeah, I'd like to think I saved a few good lives, but I couldn't save my own. This is my last